Hello, today we are going to discuss pedigrees. So, what is a pedigree? It is the record of descent of an animal showing it to be purebred animal, the recorded ancestry, especially upper class ancestry of a person or a family. So essentially, pedigree maps out ancestry. And we use pedigrees to map out particular traits, which are a distinguishing quality or characteristic typically one belonging to a person, a genetically determined characteristic. Okay, so that's what we mean by traits. So in a pedigree, squares are always male and circles are always female. Okay. If both of the wheels carry the trait that is being studied, that circle, if female, or square for male, is completely filled in, that means both the alleles are present of that trait. If the circle or square is only partially filled in, that means that individual has one of those alleles, and then obviously if there's nothing shaded in, they don't have any of the alleles associated with the trait. The lines are pretty self-explanatory. Horizontal lines, that's where mating happened between two individuals. Siblings are those branches or arches coming off. And then generations are, again, a vertical line going down. And you can see there we mark generations with Roman numerals, so I for 1 and II for 2. So, pedigrees track lineage. Pedigrees are useful because they can predict the possibility of disorders occurring in future offspring. Accuracy of this prediction increases with more individuals. You also can determine the possibility of disorders of distant ancestors. Pedigrees allow us to analyze inheritance patterns as well as determine phenotypes and genotypes. Not all traits are inherited by the same means. So if someone wants to find out, for example, with Queen Victoria's bloodline, what the certain genotype and phenotypes of that bloodline is, because we didn't have full understanding of genotype and phenotype or inheritance back then, you can literally use pedigrees to predict and determine what previous ancestors' genotypes and phenotypes were, without even necessarily getting to study them. It's just you have gathered information from other places to piece it together. All right, so inheritance patterns. So here we have a family, a daughter, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. There's 4 main kinds of inheritance patterns, for at least understanding the basics of biology. There's autosomal recessive, autosomal dominant. So again, autosomes are chromosomes that are not sex chromosomes. And then there's X-linked inheritance, which is where the trait involved is located on the X chromosome. Then there's Y-linked, where the trait involved is located on the Y chromosome. So, going through some examples now of each of these. So, autosomal recessive. Okay, so an example of this is Tay-Sachs. So it's a rare disorder. It's caused by the absence of an enzyme that helps break down fatty acid substances. These fatty substances, called gangliosides, build up to toxic levels in the child's brain and affect the function of the nerve cells. As the disease progresses, the child loses muscle control. Eventually, this leads to blindness, paralysis, and death. So, pretty terrible disease, Tay-Sachs. So, pedigrees can be used to predict the likelihood of you potentially passing on this horrible disease to a child. So here we have in generation 1 a father who is a carrier, so he has one allele for Tay-Sachs, and the mother also has an allele for Tay-Sachs. Now, because this is recessive, if you were to do a Punnett square cross for this, you'd have 3 offspring that do not have Tay-Sachs, and then 1 out of 4, 25% chance of their child having Tay-Sachs, which we can see child number 3 received Tay-Sachs. Technically, also, there's a 50% chance that 2 out of the 4 children would be carriers. They don't show that in this pedigree. That's just some more information there. You were meant to be doing a Punnett square. But yeah, that is autosomal recessive. Now, autosomal dominant is where you only need one allele for the trait to be expressed, if that's what dominant is, right? So technically, the 2 in generation 1 and then the 2 and 5 in generation 2, they could technically be fully shaded in because they are fully showing that trait. I still have them though as partially shaded just to show that there is still the other allele, but it's not the case. But it doesn't matter because it's dominant. So polydactyly is having 6 fingers or 6 digits instead of 5. That is actually the dominant trait, having more digits. 5 digits is the most common in the world, but it is recessive. So, for example, in generation 1, if even one of those polydactyl alleles gets selected for with the opposing sperm, that person's going to have polydactyl. So person 2, female, she got it, and person number 5, male, he got it. Excellent. Red-green color blindness. That is a trait that is located on the X chromosome. If you look in the Punnett square in the top left image, the X chromosome is obviously not the same as the Y chromosome. So in males, if you get the allele that is the trait, so in that case red-green color blindness, there's nothing to basically match with it in the Y. So even though in that bottom right box, the X lowercase by, there's nothing else to dominate the color blindness. So that's why that male has color blindness. And that's why, frankly, it's more common in males than females usually. So again, there's a pedigree example. In this case, the female is the carrier of the X chromosome. And again, if you're a male and you have even one X, you're going to end up having the full red-green color blindness because you don't have anything to dominate it. All right, now Y-linked. This is the most rare out of all the inheritances that we've discussed. Basically, again, it's a trait that's only on the Y chromosome, so only males can have this. For example, the trait is webbed toe, so if you look at this image, between the second and third toe, there's basically extra skin or cartilage there. Connective tissue, that makes it more like the webbing of like a frog or something like that, like frog's hands. Here you can see again the pedigree, so every single male in that pedigree has it, because in order to be male you need at least one Y chromosome. The trait is on the Y chromosome. You're going to have the webbed toes. Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe, and remember to spread words.